Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. And today we are in the first official episode of what is this? Jurassic Legacy. Forgetting what it's called. And with us today we have Jak O'Hara joining us for the first official storytelling episode.
Artist and unpaid intern here, everybody. How are we all doing?
Unpaid. Hey, be grateful.
Don't you worry about it. I'll do another 10 of them for you if I needed to. He's a good boy, this fella.
All right, so yeah, as y'all can probably tell by the title, wherever it'll be
shiny
around, wherever it's around. Actually, just while we're here, huge shout out to him, please.
Oh, don't you? No.
Check him out. He's the reason why we have the whole logo and.
Oh, shout out to this fella here. If he didn't want to reinvent anything, mate, he wouldn't have needed me, eh? He's bettering himself for all of you out there listening. So everybody here, drop him a bloody like or a subscription or wherever it is you're hearing this, eh?
Whatever is the correct terminology.
Oh, I'm sure they'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. It's some of these Spotify listeners will be confused for the last 25 seconds of every episode, but we don't talk about that.
Oh, that's all right. They're paying for their time.
As y'all can probably tell by the title of this episode, I'll probably have it be like story time, or I'll just put the titles of our stories or whatever. This will be the first
point plots,
story, point plot, whatever story breakdown of whatever Jurassic stories we got. I'll tell one, he'll tell one. Back and forth over here. All right, so I mean, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Oh, look, brother man, it is your channel, your new design, your flashy new premiere. You get to hold those reins, I reckon. I'm just here to look pretty behind this profile photo.
All right, well, I guess I'll start with my story. This is where I should probably put the
working
Jurassic
title
Legacy intro.
You'll work it up.
All of y'all can hear my thought process on this. Do like the intro, have like the Prehistoric Life intro, do say whatever, and then like Jurassic Legacy intro, and then just straight to story. That would be perfect. Well, I guess I'm gonna dive in with the story. So I gave it the title Jurassic. I was about to say Jurassic Legacy. I'm not awake over here anymore. Jurassic World Aurora. Like the Aurora Borealis.
Ooh.
So I based it out in Alaska for some background knowledge. So you got kind of small mountains, snowy plains, maybe a river or something, just the tundra with the Aurora Borealis in the background. And as you can probably tell from this image, the main creatures, dinosaurs that we would have, probably I would work some Ice Age dinosaurs into here.
Ice Age dinosaurs?
I say dinosaurs, but no.
I'm keeping him sharp, everybody. Don't you worry.
Ice Age mammals, whatever your megafauna critters.
Cenozoics.
The main thing that will be the main plot is a herd of Amargasaurus that is that has just mysteriously popped up in Alaska. Nobody knows where they came from. They're just there now. And there seems to be some like weird fenced off area. And of course there's people in Alaska. And I'd probably work in some, I don't know, this might be a little offensive, Eskimos, indigenous, whatever. I think they call themselves Eskimos. I went to Alaska and I'm supposed to know this stuff.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure that even I down here in Australia may have heard that apparently you can't call them Eskimos anymore. That's offensive, but we don't have any HR department here.
In Alaska if anybody is an indigenous Alaskan, Eskimo, Native American, whatever you want to call yourself, and you're listening to this, comment down below or message me on Instagram or something and tell me what you prefer to be called. I'm not trying to get flagged or cancel cultured over here. I got my own crap to deal with. But I will actually use a dinosaur that was found in Alaska instead of T-Rex or something that doesn't really
another
make
big
sense.
standard carnivore.
Because Albertosaurus, famous, is still too similar to. I mean, I don't know, but Nanukosaurus, it was found in Alaska, so it seems like I should use it. It's the Alaskan T-Rex, so I mean, it seems like the perfect pick. So I mean,
sure. And personally, myself, I must say, ladies and gents, everyone listening, that when it comes to dinosaurs, mostly, whether it be Jurassic or real life sort of ones, I prefer them to be as unique as possible. And I challenge you to go out there and find a more unique sauropod than a Margosaurus or Barasaurus, whatever it's called, the other one there in front of you there.
yeah,
Big complicated names. But the interest, because the thing is, hey, it's uniquely different. They look different. They look interesting, and that's what I'm here for when it
they are
comes to my
very
Jurassic entertainment.
unique.
For sure. So that's a perfect pick there,
Sauropods in
Eric.
general are very unique.
Indeed.
But I mean, the main. Now we're going to dive into the plot. We got a little excess background, whatever you want to call it. So the main plot is a group of mercenaries from all over Europe. Originally, I had just like Belgium for whatever reason, because I think I like one of those
wants to go there.
crappy Divide of Kingdoms ads where they throw the dart at one of the country at a map of Europe, and they're like, whatever country it lands on is the country I play as. I pretty much did that. I just pointed to a country as like that one.
And safe to say, ladies and gents, that after a very long-winded conversation with I myself alone, I was able to straighten him out and give him some new ideas. So he takes incredible and impeccable notes. So we'll have him read some of these out to him.
Absolutely. But I decided to mark out Belgium and just say all over Europe. So because I kind of want them to be a little dysfunctional. A little bit of, so they have to get that sense of brotherhood throughout this story.
Oh, of course. No one shows up to the club on the same page every first day.
I mean, like if me, you, Dan, and Anson were all in a room together, we'd probably, for like the first 5 minutes, we'd probably be like, it's a little awkward.
Well, for sure, especially because I'd be wearing a balaclava. Just because you can't see my face. Nah. He's completely right, ladies and gents. So he's come up with this idea.
Even though we're all
chatty boys,
close to each other, talk to each other. I mean, similar to each other, especially if they're all over Europe. So they're all just a bunch of white people. Maybe we won't.
I thought you were going to say that if all of us boys all got together there, we'd be like, man, you know what? You're a little fatter than I thought you were. I'll be like, oh, thanks.
We're pretty diverse.
You sounded thinner on the phone.
We got a Brazilian, we got a Malaysian, we got an Australian, and an American.
Oh, that's the makings for a good bloody
that's some diversity
game there. Yeah, got them all over the world. You know, apparently, I wish this was a joke. Did you know that since I started getting on the pod on Jurassic Fans podcast, before I bloody started jumping on there, Dan over there, he had 4% of listeners from Australia. I jump on, the listener viewership has gone down to 3 in Australia, so I've lost this an entire
all
percentage.
The Australians hate you.
Yeah, and 100, like if there was like 100,000, which there is, there's probably only like 100 of them, but I've lost 50 bloody subscribers from Australia because they're like, this is not how we talk. I'm underrepresented here. Bugger it off.
Just saying this, if the viewer count did go up, and then just more people from other places, then the percentage would just go down because
for sure
it's less of the group. So I don't know if you lost people from there.
That makes me feel a little better there, Eric. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So he's come up with this interesting idea.
Red British.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, so he's got this. We've come up with a name. This is what he's been waiting to announce to all of you lot out here. He's come up with a name, and I'm very proud.
No. The mercenaries work for the DPR. They're all hired by the DPR. For those of you who don't know and haven't heard of the DPR, I should probably dive in that. Probably should have started with the DPR episode first because I mentioned them a lot.
Maybe.
You got 4 hours? I'm just kidding.
Holy fuck! I was gonna say no, I do not.
So the DPR, for all of you, if you know, you should know Camp Cretaceous in Jurassic World and Chaos Theory by this point. I would hope so if you're listening to this. And if you're not, the DPW is a government organization that is surrounded by since dinosaurs got on the mainland, they deal with dinosaurs. They protect them. They move them. They do whatever.
The Department of Prehistoric Wildlife has been sanctioned by the U.S. government to protect people from dinosaurs by herding them together and keeping them out of the public domain. Oh, says the Wikipedia page.
Do you have a bug right now? Should I be? Oh God, we have a Fed in the chat.
Uh-oh.
I'm missing. All right, so the DPR is an off branch of that, where their mission is to go out and take out. Well, that was sounding like a typical American over here, terrorists. Their whole thing is that they go out and take out the smugglers. They go fight the poachers, the dinosaur terrorists, pretty much. They go out and they take care of those people. They hunt them, they kill them, they bring them back to the state, they imprison them, they do whatever. They go free the dinosaurs, move them, whatever. So
I would love to see the legal drama that goes alongside that too. I say that they're sanctioned to do all these things.
Yeah, I mean,
there's got to be a lawyer back there who's ripping her hair out. Like, you can't beat them up and then put them in prison. You don't hold an official badge of honor.
That wasn't in our country. That wasn't in our country.
That was over the line.
Global incidents. Please stop.
And he'll say, "I'll show you. I'll say I got my registration right here."
we are not loyal to a flag or a nation.
Do you see any flags on this silver?
But so the DPR is a more international NATO level, not NATO level, but like under NATO. So the DPW, because we were talking about this earlier, we don't actually know if they're international or not.
We might be horribly misinformed, ladies and viewers out there. But as far as I am aware,
in the chat, no, they had a boat. They were going to everywhere else.
They were going everywhere else.
That dockyard was also illegal. So
that's true. That's true. So you know what? We don't know. At the very least, we will discover in season 2 of Chaos Theory coming out soon, I imagine.
But it is clearly obvious that there are heavier in America than out of other countries, if that makes sense.
For sure. So we don't know. So say, ladies and gents, if they went to, say, I don't know, Europe or down to Australia, will you believe that they would still be called the DPW over there if they're an American branch of the government? I don't think so.
I mean,
so that makes
that is my point of the DPR, is that they are they don't answer to the American government. They answer to like NATO. If that makes sense, or not NATO, but like
National Arms of Defense.
You know, it is NATO, isn't it? North American.
I want to say
EU. No, that's Europe. What is the global organization thing?
Well, not GSD. That's
League of Nations. I don't know.
League of Nations. Oh, the United Nations.
United Nations. Thank you.
But it's like, it covers a few of them. All right, no, that's all right. You might be going for a second. You think I should? Eric, I'm far older than you, man, and I have not said that word since I left high school. Anyway,
so they're kind of under the United Nations, not just like one country, because they kind of deal internationally. They do get a lot of heavy American military funding for obvious reasons.
Interesting reasons, I'm sure. But that's neither here nor there right now. What is here nor there is that.
So this group of mercenaries that was hired by the DPR from just all over Europe, they were just like, sign up for the DPR, come save dinosaurs, go kill poachers.
Kill poachers, holy.
Hey, all I'm saying is in World War II, there were people that were joining the war just to kill some Nazis.
Well, I was gonna say, ladies and gents, he's not gonna hit that Netflix PG bloody demographic here. He's not gonna make.
No. We just show that off.
That's right. Well, you know what? If Deadpool can come out and bloody make R-rated movies billions of dollars worth, I mean, this man can pull it off, I'm sure.
So they're all on a plane or a helicopter in Europe, whatever, and they're going over to Alaska because that's where their mission is located. I was originally going to go Siberia, but Russia.
Tell us, and the ladies and gents and viewers at home here, Eric. So who are we talking about? Who are these characters? Who are some of the names?
Well, I mean,
at the very least, what kind of stereotypes do we have? Are there any women included? What's going on?
Are there any women included? There'll be a few women. Maybe a German lady, just like.
What are they doing? Do they have guns? How do they dress?
German lady, just buff, beer chugging German lady. generic.
And what brings her in? Does she do this shit for the fun, or does she does it for the money? What does she do? Give her the motivations.
She just wants to wrestle some people. She
wants to go beat some people.
She just wants to go wrestle. Although that's Greek, so I don't know. She just wants to go smash some
wrestle in America, yeah.
She just wants to go smash some skull together. You have the watch The Simpsons a little bit. Groundskeeper Willie, just level Scotsman.
Scotsman. Oh, you right cretins out here! You're moving all these
things. Scottish, it's crap.
You're moving all these things around.
Red hair, big beard, Jack dude, just
you need done messed up moving these sauropods across my border.
just nobody can understand his fake Scottish accent. A British dude, like a new, like out of college or university. What do they have in Britain? Britain, in the old motherland. Although we don't like him over here in America. You guys.
Papa Cola.
But he's just kind of new out of the thing. The Scotsmen hate him because the Scottish guy hates him because he's British. Just the whole joke between them. That's their whole dynamic. So the Scottish guy will just be throwing like insults at him the whole time.
Oh wow!
By the end of it, there will be something where the British guy saves his life, and then they're just kind of a little bit buddy or something. I'll have that worked in there or something. A few people from Belgium, a dude from Italy, just generic stereotypes. Just like you can tell by the accent, and none of them can communicate well. They all have heavy accents, or they all speak non-English.
Oh, so none of them are English. That's actually interesting. What if that's like what has to bring them together?
For the purpose of the movie, they will all probably speak English, but they will just.
Oh, at the very least. Well, you got to remember, man, we live in 2024 now. Yeah, we don't need that anymore, bro. We got subtitles that are auto-generated now at the bottom. We don't need them to be. That's the idea, isn't it? And you could almost say that that's a good idea to bring them all in from different languages. So when the Americans are there and they're taking down and fighting the Americans, the poachers, they can't understand none of them.
That is true. And then, I mean, have it be like from each perspective. So at times you can kind of get like.
Yeah, that's the reason they were hired. The ad came out, said wanted a German who can understand Scottish, or a Scottish man who can understand
or like
French.
Multi-languageal language.
Oh, you need to be linguistic.
I know English.
English, linguist. That's the word.
Linguinal.
Linguinal? I can't speak it. I can't tell you this. So they're in Alaska. What are they there for? They're in there. What are they chasing down?
So they touch down in Alaska, and they're just like mission. It's just like, do you know who Douglas MacArthur is?
No, I don't know.
I'm going to rage bait so many Americans right now. Just basically Douglas MacArthur general dude.
I want everybody to remember I am a non-paid intern here, and I am ready to run if I need.
just like, okay, he doesn't want to overthrow the U.S. government. He doesn't want to kill people in office. He didn't have some questionable decisions while he was a general, but just like generic country boy, heavy American.
Shoot him up, boy. I said I'm gonna mount it on my wall.
Hat and glasses. He's just like, you see them woods right there. Hike out in those woods and kill all them poachers.
Them destructive carnivores.
What is that movie? I think it's a Tarantino movie where they're in Germany and during World War II.
I know the
it's
one
Nazi hunting season and business.
Inglorious Bastards.
Inglorious Bastards. Yes, just that dude.
Oh, I like that.
We're gonna scout 200 Nazis. Just that level of dude. Just this episode's gonna be flagged on YouTube instantly. I already know it.
Oh, 100%, bro. You're getting put on every list of bloody little.
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not. I'll say it's not for kids. Hopefully it's just age restricted. I don't need
that'll work.
All right. So they get taken to a location, and then they eventually come across this huge fence that has just been destroyed. And they're like, this is like a weird sight. This is uncommon. We don't know what this is. So they pass it, they go through it, and they eventually find a Eskimo indigenous, Alaskan indigenous, American indigenous, etc., Native American, whatever it is.
His words, ladies and gents, not mine.
I'm going to call them Eskimos for the sake of simplicity and knowing what they are.
Well, you know what? You know what, everyone? As long as he's not calling them ice people or ice slushies, he's doing all right. I can say that because we are down here in Australia.
You ain't got no ice down there.
Nah, you can't come get us. We live down here on a big island. I can get away with
that. Yeah. I've seen Mad Max. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Bro, so I'm going to call them Eskimos for the point of. So I don't say Native American and somebody's like, the Cherokee? for that point. I'm going to call them Eskimos for that point. So they come across a group of them, and just like everything has been trampled, destroyed. A few of them were dragged off and eaten, and
not the little igloos.
And they're just like, oh, we don't know what's going on. There's like some like bullet holes and stuff in some of their work and their stuff, and they're like, we were just chilling here, and we don't, no pun intended. And there will be like one dude from the, well, not one dude. There will be like a few dudes from the tribe that speak English or whatever, because Americans.
I just want to see the idea of an Eskimo just sitting in the ice.
Like most of them are just kind of still isolated.
What are you doing, bro? Just chilling in the ice.
I'm glad you like that pun.
That amused me far with it.
But the like mercenary group walks up and they're like immediately hostile to them. And they're like, "What's going on? Who are these people? What is this? Are these the people that we're after?" And then they figure out that it's not, and they see like kids and stuff, and they're like, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We need to stop here." And then they kind of cease fire. The Eskimos kind of communicate with this mercenary group for a little bit. And then there's like 3 or 4 of them. There's like not an elderly person, but like older in age, like kind of wiser Eskimo guy that kind of speaks English and is a translator who goes with them. There's like a young, tough, hard-headed dude. Basically the Brother Bear trio, if you've seen that movie.
Oh, of course, I love Brother Bear.
Just like an older, wiser guy that can communicate, that translates for him. 2 people that don't, that are kind of younger and hard-headed, that kind of bash heads a little bit.
Heads. That's it. You're making me want to go back and do a Disney binge now. You are.
Start with the dinosaur movie.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But like, so they're like, yeah, there's these giant monsters. We don't know what they are because they don't have news. They're basically existing on a reserve. I'm gonna get hated for saying this, but so they're a group that kind of sticks to their tradition. Fly in my room. I'm hating this now. I'm hating that fly. I'll kill him after the show. I will off him after the show. So they're kind of like, we don't know about dinosaurs. We didn't know dinosaurs were even a thing. Like, we didn't know that they were back on the island or back on the mainland.
Back in the world.
They didn't even know about the original Jurassic Park in Jurassic World. But they're like, yeah, there's these giant spiked monsters that came through and trampled everything. And there's these people chasing them with rifles and whatever, and jeeps and whatever else. And then there was a huge, giant, 2-legged monster that just bit someone in half, just clean in half. And it's like, whoa. We didn't know anything about a monster. We're after something called a Margosaurus. Kind of like the Scottish guy trying to pronounce a Margosaurus. Try
a Margosaurus. Yeah, Margosaurus. You mean the Margosaurus?
After this, I'm gonna find a Scottish voice actor just to say that one word.
Do that. Just put out an ad, bro. Just be like, hey, want it for free voice work? Appear in a show? Say a Margosaurus.
I need you to say one word for me.
Yeah, do one line. I'll give you 40 cents.
But so they're just kind of like, yeah, we don't know what that is. So then eventually they're like kind of hiking through the tundra a little bit, and eventually they come across like a watering hole, and they see the like this huge herd of a Margosaurus, and they're like, this is really weird. They shouldn't be this far north. This isn't their environment. And like, you get this like basically just this scene a little bit. You got like a herd, and then they see Nanukosaurus.
Ooh, that's a new one to me.
This guy right here. Put him in the camera. Basically, the Alaskan T-Rex just kind of have like maybe like one well-versed paleo student from like a random university. He can be like from Netherlands or something. And he's just like, wow, that thing was actually found here in Alaska. And they're all just like learning about them. It's just like this peaceful moment where you just see this giant herd from Amargasaurus with this like Nanoquesaurus just kind of stalking them, like it's about to hunt them. And then they hear like gunshots and like a motor revving, and they're like, okay, what's going on? Who's out here? Somebody shouldn't be out here. And then they see like the poachers riding up kind of behind them, like trying to trank the Amargasaurus, and as the Nanoquesaurus is kind of hunting them. So it's like there's like 2 or 3 of them just kind of stuck in the middle of this herd, fighting off like a herd of Amargasaurus while they're being poached at the same, or not poached, but smuggled or hunted or whatever you want to use as the technical term.
As the terminology.
And so they're like, okay, well, we got to step in now. So they start like charging in. They go in. They start shooting down the poachers every now and then. Maybe 1 or 2 of them get hurt. Of the mercenaries get like shot down or hurt or something, and eventually they're like, oh my god, there's a huge herd. There's like 40 to 60 Amargasaurus, and there's like 4 or 5 Nanukosaurus. I don't know how you pronounce this thing. Nanukosaurus. Nanoquesaurus. I don't know. If I pronounce it either or, just know I'm talking about this guy right here. Alaskan T-Rex, just for the record. So they're like, okay, yeah, there's too many of these things, and you're left with the Scotsman, the British dude, the Belgian dude, the guy from the Netherlands, 2 Italians, and then the German lady.
2 Italians.
And they went in.
Is that because if one of them doesn't, one of them dies, the other one can still make a pizza?
That's
so tell me this then. Tell me this. Yeah, well, I'm Italian. I can get away with that. So here's the thing, right? I'm questioning. I'm going to question it here. So tell me this. I want to know, as a fan of hearing all this, I want to know what part of them, these characters, right? So you say that the big German lady, she wants to just wrestle with people, right? That's interesting.
Big tough woman.
Yeah, definitely no preferences there. What is the motivation to want to join up? What's going to make me care about them as a sympathetic character? Does one of them have a sick daughter that he's trying to save money for?
The British guy, he's just like a young dude that was kind of he's like, I need the money, and he was forced into it. So you're like, I don't want him to die. And you'll have like, okay, basically Saving Private, not that violent, Saving Private Ryan D-Day scene where it's like 10 to 15 new recruits, and they're all just like seeing the poachers, and they're like, yeah, it's our first job. Let's do this. And then they just get mowed down. And these like experienced poachers are just and they're just mercilessly taking down the mercenaries. You got the big German lady where she's just like a big
gal.
She's a big gal. She's kind of like also like a sweet aunt at the same time. She's very caring and compassionate towards the group, but she's also just like kind of just like, all right, let's tussle. And you got the like big Scottish dude, so they're kind of just going head to head, and he's just kind of like a lighthearted guy, even though he seems like a little crazy. So that's like, you're like, and then you got like the Italian dudes, they're brothers, so you're like, they're really close to each other, and one will die. What? You didn't hear that? And then you got the dude from Belgium, where he's kind of the main character. You're kind of following him. He's kind of forced into this a little bit because his parents kind of like signed him up to just basically ship him off.
His parents signed him up to an
So
organization that teach you to run around the world and
so
shooting
so he's like
poachers.
he's kind of just like I need a job. I'm ex-military. I'm not military, but like ex-police. Maybe there'll be something at the beginning where he's wrong, like he didn't do whatever proper police work, and he was saving somebody, and like
They done him
this like
wrong,
this
guys.
this
On the wrong
basically just
side of
like
the law.
vile murderer gets off scot free because
Oh,
he didn't do the proper paperwork or whatever.
that
And,
sounds
and so he's
bad.
and then he's like just distraught, torn apart about it, and they're like, dude, we gotta let you go. You can't do work.
You're off the rails, bro. Turn in your badge and gun.
You're
You're off the
going
force.
you're going loose cannon on us, man. You can't do that. And so he's just like, I need a job. And his parents are like, well, these DPR people are hiring. You totally won't see a lot worse there. So then he reluctantly signs up for it, and you just like he's like this really just kind-hearted,
Grizzled. Oh, kind.
truthful season 1, episode 1 Walking Dead Rick Grimes like
Oh,
character. He doesn't know what's
shiny, shiny as the day is young.
yeah, just the definition of kind spirit.
Oh,
He's always helping, like, and you see like this moment where you're just like, he sees like the dead, just like a couple of the dead people. He like drags one of them back, and he's like dying, and it's like basically a scene from the Battle of the Argonne where it's like he's spitting up blood and stuff, and he's like, it's like some like dude from like Switzerland or whatever, and he's like, I have a picture of my girlfriend in my pocket. I can't reach it. My arm, I can't feel my arm. Can you get it out for me? And it's
all going unsaid. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, so when
like
it's
this
happening,
moment.
he's trying.
He's like lying in the snow. You know he's going to die, and this officer is just like, crap. I have to break it to this dude, and he's just kind of doing whatever to like comfort them in their last moments
It's
while
reminding
they're
me.
being shot at.
Yeah, it's actually reminding me the way you say that, Eric. It's reminding me of the way that for anyone who's ever watched a movie called The Grey, it's with Liam Neeson where they're in a plane accident in Alaska and they're getting hunted by wolves, and there's a fellow who survives the plane crash, but he's mortally
where I
wounded.
got some inspiration from.
Yeah, and he said, it says, and instead of trying to comfort him and tell him that he's going to make it, he looks him straight in the eye and says, "You're going to die out here." And he starts freaking out, and he says, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die." But the serious nature of it, and they know that nothing can be done about it. And they say, he looks at him and he says, "Don't be afraid. Just be afraid. Don't be afraid." And it's this serious moment, but like they're not trying to give him false hope. That's what it is. But they're not also trying to be horrible about it either.
And then the Netherlands guy, he's just really passionate about dinosaurs. He's really wanted to work with dinosaurs, and this is his like chance to get to work with them. And he's like,
his dream.
It's just his dream. He doesn't think that he's going to be like basically in a war zone, but he thinks he's going to be like, well, I got to go trank the dinosaur. I got to go help load it onto the truck and take it to XYZ. And then it's just this like sudden like switch just that flips in him, and he's just like, oh
yeah, and he realizes he's like, uh-oh,
and he's just like, oh crap. And then like one of the Italians is just like, so he's peeks over the ridge, and he gets like shot like in the lung basically. Ooh. And he just rolls down a hill, and his brother's just freaking out at the same time. And eventually and the whole time there's like this weird overarching sense of like being watched on both sides, like throughout multiple but like when they touch down, when the like mercenaries touch down in Alaska, one of them's just like, you guys like feel that? And they're like, what are you
looking out to the woods?
He's like he's just like staring off.
He's like Muldoon. Everybody, he says he looks into the jungle and says like, we can make it if we run. And he says,
no, he's just, it's like the Italian brother that survives is just like paranoid the whole time.
Oh, I see.
He's one of them's just like, good Christian boy, went to whatever Catholic university. He's a Roman Catholic. he loves the Pope. He loves Christian. He's like just good Christian boy, and he just gets shot in the lung, and you're just like, oh,
like hey, they had to fuck around.
And his brother is just like the opposite of the. And from that moment, like his brother's just like,
this is serious,
denouncing God at that point. Get this, like he's like, why? Just at this point, he's like losing faith, and it like goes hand in hand with like he's losing his faith, but at the same time he's like losing his faith in just like life. So you can see him like getting depressed and like sad at the same time he's like denouncing God basically. And like, his brother's sitting there like coughing up blood like in front of him, bleeding out, and his brother's just like his last moment is just like him handing him his Bible, and it's just like, oh, you're just like shit.
Emotional stakes.
You're just, and his brother is just like, his last words are just like, have faith, and you just
don't give in.
It just like keep faith and just keep living, and you're just like, oh,
sad.
Or no. Even better, because he's just like, do not be afraid, and then he's just dead, and because that's like the most repeated line in the Bible, so it's just like, oh crap,
like oh no,
but like this whole time, and he's like a younger brother, so he just watched his like older brother that has basically been like his best friend
his entire life
just die in front of him, and but like the whole time he's just like, as soon as they touch down, they're all new, and he's just like, you guys feel like somebody's watching us? And his older brother's just like, it's just his overactive imagination. He's fine.
Don't listen to him. He's fresh.
He's just like constantly just staring off into the tundra, like there's somebody out there. There's something out there.
Something's wrong.
And it's not what we're after. And they get to like the fence, and he's just like, what is this fence? Why are we here? He's like, this fence isn't supposed to be here. And they're all just like, I don't know, maybe it's part of the reserve, maybe it's the Eskimo reserve or whatever, maybe the Eskimos put up, who knows? And they're all making excuses and stuff. Maybe the US government put it up to try to keep the Margosaurus in, or whatever. Maybe the poachers put it up. And he's just like, no, that doesn't make sense. And it's just like, and they're all just like, he's just some paranoid little kid, and he's throughout the whole like movie, they tap a few poachers, but there's like just a lot of poachers, and there's just too many for them to handle at like this first mark. And they're like, they like call in to the commander, and they're like, okay, there's 7 of us, there's 6 of us left. We walked in with 15. We need to leave. And they're like, you're not allowed out of those woods you're not allowed out of that tundra until you finish that mission, or you're dead.
Yep, like, that's right. So it's like a suicide squad,
basically. Well, I guess that's out. Feel my throat drying up. And so it's like the poachers are like, they trank a few of Margosaurus, they load them up, and they take them back to their camp, whatever. And you get this like weird sense of like throughout the corner of like a lot of shots, you'll just like maybe just like something off in the distance that doesn't seem right. I got that fly finally.
He did it.
Got him. All right.
Got him.
He's not bothering me. So there's just like something in just like the corner of the screen that's just kind of like not right, unsettling, just kind of there.
I see.
And like there's like a scene where they're like trying to track the poachers. They're come across the Nanukosaurus, and it's just like freaking them out, and it's a few of them, and they're just like kind of popping shots near them to kind of scare them off. And so they like come across like the poacher camp, and they're all talking, and they're like listening in, because they can't just like rush in. They gotta like, basically the scene in Jurassic World 2 where there's like 3 people versus the entire Roland Timbo squad. It's like, if Malcolm's group rushed in there, they'd just get shot down. And it's like, okay. Basically that it's like
Be a very short movie, wouldn't
it? Yeah, very depressing too. It's like 6 militia mercenary versus like 50 well seasoned poachers, and it's like, yeah, okay, we'd all know if they went head to head what would happen.
it?
And like, so they're spying on them, and there's like this group of poachers, and they're talking about it. They're like, hey, there was did y'all see that like glowing thing in the distance? And they're like, what are you trying to campfire story us? What are you blabbing on about? There's like talk around camp while they're talking about it. They're like about somebody watching them from a distance, and they're just like, oh, it's the Eskimos, it's the whatever, it's the just the indigenous people trying to scare us away. It's whatever. they're like, well, yeah, but they did do that. They tried to scare us away with whatever weird sticks or something that their bows or whatever that they tried to shoot at us, but we messed up their camp. They're not messing with. And there's like this scene of like basically one of like the Italian kid talking to the Eskimo, like to the Eskimos, and they're like, he's like, is that y'all? Are y'all doing that? And they're like, no, everybody but us 3 are back at camp, at like back where we were. We don't.
You know what, my chief? I've just looked it up here on the side. Just chuck it in there. So I've looked up and said, what is the proper 2024 way to address an Eskimo? And it says here, Inuit is now the current term in Alaska and across the Antarctic. Eskimo is fading from use. So Inuit.
All right, well, Inuit.
Sorry, Inuit. Inuits, that's what you call them.
Inuit.
So instead of Eskimos, it's Inuits. So the Inuits.
Right, so Inuits. Well, there's a proper term.
We fixed him up, everybody. Don't worry, we got him back on track.
So the Inuits. He's talking to the Inuits, and they're like, is that you? Where are y'all trying to scare him away?
God, is that
like they're hiding? So you have like the camp, and there's like a ridge. They're kind of in a valley kind of thing, and they're like, there's like a campfire here, and there's a ridge right here. They're just smack dab up against the ridge. And that's because some of the poachers came out and built that campfire there. So that if any of them like move or speak too loud, the poachers will know they're there. They're like close to the poachers. It's like just a thick wall of like snow that's keeping them alive. And so they're like whispering to the they're like, is that, or the Inuits, and they're like, is that y'all? Is that y'all doing that? And they're just like, no, but we've had some strange visitors that are dressed in all white with red glowing eyes, and they're like, what is that? That doesn't, who's that? I mean, none of the poachers match that description. I mean, and like, you kind of get a camera angle from the mound or the hill or whatever, and you just kind of like see in the background like just somebody, like the figure of a person just kind of watching.
Ooh, like a
silhouette. And you're like, is that one of the mercenaries? That's just got to be one of the mercenaries. And it's just not.
It's not one of the Inuits.
Inuits. So the mercenaries are all like kind of like freaked out, and they're like, well, we know all the dinosaur stories are all just campfire stories.
They're all paranoid.
They're like, we all know that's just Inuit folklore or whatever.
A crock of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. But they're like, we've never heard of these red-eyed, white, snow blending in people. We don't know what that is. Is that? And so they have like somebody there who is like kind of an expert in Inuit culture, and he's like, yeah, that's not. You get to hear like, from the poachers. They're like,
that boy ain't right.
And he's like, yeah, that's not. We don't. No, they don't know what that is. That's not a thing here.
No, sir.
And then like, then just like suddenly there's just like a flare overhead, and it's like what was that? And all the poachers kind of just like rush to arms. They're unprepared. They're like, they think that one of their own set it off by accident or something. They're all like questioning each other, and then there's just like gunfire and just somebody running through the camp just slashing up people, and you're just like, what is this? And the mercenaries are like, all right, this is our opportunity. They start taking like, they just kind of peek over the hill and just start just taking like pot shots basically at people, picking them off one by one. The poachers are like, "What's going on?" They start firing just into the blank abyss of just the tundra, and it's just unknown what's going on. And then just and then they kind of discover the mercenary group, so they have to fall back even further, being chased by the poachers. Just conclude that that's what it was. They're just like,
mercenary group, you say?
What they're just like, it's just the mercenaries, or these people that are after us. It's like trying to chase them out a little bit, and sorry, there had some technical difficulties. Started buffering.
And so then he was saying to me,
so they like cross over another ridge, and then they just accidentally come across like the pack of Nenoquesaurus, and they're just like, crap. Kind of like the scene from Jurassic Park 3 where Alan Grant just pulls back the brush and it's just the T-Rex right there. They're just like, but it's like,
it's okay, it's dead.
Smaller, white and black T-Rex like creatures. This thing, it's just like 6 or 7 of these, and they're just like, oh crap. Sight doesn't, like, the whole sight thing doesn't work with these.
No, of course not.
And so they just basically turn tail and just run, and then they cut, and then like they eventually split off. They have to like split up, and then the poachers just run right into the like pack of. Actually, I figured out the proper term for a group of Tyrannosaurids, and it's called a Grex, which is cool.
Greps? That's cool. I didn't know that.
Feel free to use the actual paleo term for that.
I will. I'll take a bit of that.
And in Chaos Theory Season 2, we should get a Grex of Rexes. So
a Grex of Rexes. That's flipping amazing, man. I like that.
But getting sidetracked.
All right.
So they just basically it's like 40 or so poachers, and then just like 6 or 7 of these Nenoquesaurus just kind of ripping apart the poachers, and they're taking pot shots at them. Eventually, the poachers just overwhelm them. They lose a lot of numbers just because they're running into these things, and you just kind of hear faint screams and gunshots in the background. Basically, the camp scene from Jurassic Park 2, but just in a tundra.
That's the one.
Well, Rexes kind of things, but basically that, and then eventually the mercenaries, just because they know the poachers are like distracted, so they go back to their camp, and they're just like letting loose all their Margosaurus and just kind of freeing them. And they're like, we got to recapture these things.
Oh darn! Like, here they go again.
They like come across like a younger one, and it's got like this weird, it's not even a birthmark. It looks like it was kind of branded, but like with like a weird logo kind of thing that's like faded, so they can't tell what it is. And they see like MD, and that is like, what is that? And so they let them all loose, and then they kind of just turn around, and basically just like a straight shot through the camp.
Oh, hang on, he's buffering again.
Uh-oh. You still there?
No, yeah, still here. Got it. Right.
On the mound opposite the camp, I'm just sitting here with my arm up the whole time. They see just like a white figure just with like few blood spots on him, with like basically just like huge night vision not huge, but like night vision goggles, but they're like red, and it just sticks out in the like snowy background, and they're just like, what the hell is that?
What was that? Yeah.
Like Scottish dude's like, I don't care, but I'm shooting.
That's your trailer moment, ladies and gentlemen. What was that?
Yeah, like they're just like, you just see this thing just watching them and observing them, and they're like, we don't know what that is. That's not. And they just start. The Scottish dude's just like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna kill it, and he just starts shooting at it, and it just jumps behind the mound, and then just one of them, like the Italian, like the younger Italian kid, just like rushes over there, This character's just gone. They're just like, what? He's gone, and he basically just like turns around to the group and he's like, I told y'all there was something out here.
Yeah,
just like,
I knew it. I told you. You never listen to me.
and he finds just like this weird, just metal like coin thing on the ground, kind of like a calling card, and it's just perfectly smooth on both sides, and he's just like, what is this is weird. And he just kind of like picks it up and he's just like, all right, guess I'm holding on to this. And because he's just like, all right, well, it's just some weird metal thing, but it seems significant. And it's got like on the, like just little, basically a coin, like a coin, just smooth on both sides. And it's just freaky, basically. So he goes back to the group. They free all the Amargasaurus. They kind of tear down the camp or whatever, and they kind of hide in the ruins of the camp. And as the poachers come back, all injured, riled up, a couple of them are out of ammo or whatever, they had laid a few traps, Kevin McAllister, Home Alone style. A few of the poachers fall for the traps. They get blown up or whatever. They get shot. They get stabbed. They get et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One gets a pike through the head or something. I don't know. Something interesting.
Nice.
The Inuits come back with like basically a cavalry charge. I don't know. Do they have horses in Alaska? I don't know. Cavalry charge, basically just the backup. The rest of the Inuits came and they're just like, hey, y'all walked into our camp and killed a bunch of us. We're kind of mad at you. So they start killing off all the poachers. And so you get this like sweet, bittersweet moment where it's like, well, not bittersweet, but you get like the two young Eskimos that can't, or Inuits that can't communicate with the mercenaries. They see the like elder one get like killed, and they're like, oh, dang, that's like basically our brother, and they're just dang, and they're like mourning over him, and then you get this kind of like at the end, the like 6 remaining mercenaries, battle torn, ripped up, like they're running low on ammo. They have like 2 bullets left. And the Inuits are just like, we'll watch the Amargasaurus herd. We'll watch it. And so they're kind of just like honorary DPR members now. One of the like the like Italian kid kind of befriended the 2 other Inuits. And actually, I should make the Italian kid the main character.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, they can all be main characters. It's kind of
why not? That's the idea.
This kind of vibe. And he kind of just like rips his patch off and hands it to him, and they're like, are you sure about this? And he's like, I have my brothers. He's like, I took my brothers, and he kind of just pulls it out of his pocket, and the like coin falls out. And you kind of see the like one of the Inuits is just like, no, that's not right. He's like kind of starts freaking out, and they're just like, okay. I don't know. Maybe he's just wigging out. Maybe it's some weird thing. And they're like, this symbol is the symbol of midnight.
Oh.
And it's just like, what does this mean? And so you get this like weird thing where they go back to their thing. They have the Inuits come with them, and they meet the commander from the beginning, and they're like, the mission's done. We're good. We did what we needed. All the poachers are dead. They have like maybe a few captives. They're all battle torn and ripped up. Yeah. They're all like friends with each other. They're like, maybe during that final battle, the Scottish dude's getting like surrounded, and the poachers are like mocking him, and he's like, out of ammo.
Why you bully me?
There's like a moment where you're like, are they gonna kill the Scottish dude? He's like 6. There's like 6 of them left. You can't. And then the like little British kid just kind of like, he's just like, all right, leave my friend alone. He just mows all of them down. And the Scottish dude's like, you saved me. They're just like friends now. You get this like weird friendship between them.
Yeah.
So they get they get back to the camp, and they they're all like kind of like partying a little bit. They're like, "Oh, we won." They have like a funeral service or whatever, maybe in the background, and the Inuits and the people on base are kind of friends with each other, and they're talking to the Inuit that kind of freaked out.
Wow.
And they're like trying to communicate the coin, and everybody's like, we don't know what this is. We don't know anymore. He's that guy, that one Inuit guy is the only one that knows about this, and he's just freaking out about it. And then the general is just like, he just kind of comes by and snatches it up, and he's just like, yeah, you said midnight. Something you just hear like over the radio, just like he's like, yeah, people have been talking about this midnight stuff all day, and they're like, it's like a news report, and they're like, a new shadow organization. Very, very few sightings have come up around the globe, and it's just like basically Bigfoot pictures of just
yes,
weird,
like unexplained phenomenon.
Of like people in weird places where there have been attacks and things like that. So there's like one you'll see like maybe 6 or 7 random pictures or whatever. There's like one where it's the ferry cruise on the Nile. You guys will all get this reference later on.
Here we go.
And there's like
he's winding up.
There's like one where it's like weird thing just in the vent, and you see like the John Wick character just kind of like it's like a picture of him like talking to his troops, and then there's just like a weird guy in the background kind of watching that should like beyond the fence line or something. This is like a few things just around where it's just like this doesn't seem right. And the Inuit guy's just like freaking out even more. And he's like, okay, this isn't just an Alaskan thing. This is what's going. And the soldiers are like, this goes deeper. And the like news reports like this new weird phenomenon where all these people are popping out of nowhere. Are they extraterrestrials or something weird? They're like making.
Where are they coming from?
They're like lighthearted jokes about it.
Because to everybody listening, I pitched him a small idea myself that I was going to use in one of my stories a bit further down the line, where a activist group run by like a kind of a billionaire's son was thinking how funny it would be if he could like explain like certain myths throughout the world, like a certain phenomenon that where like, so for instance, the Loch Ness monster, that Nessie or whatever it is. What if someone was able to just clone a plesiosaurus and just put it in there, like put it into the to the ocean, and then if Bigfoot's out there, they just clone like a prehistoric like an older animal. Not animal.
One of the megafauna giant ape.
Yeah. And if they like like even like in my country, we have Aboriginal legends and stuff like that about like the rainbow serpent and stuff.
Mothman.
They just make a Titanoboa with Lux bloody bioluminescence down it. Like they like anything that from the past is plausible. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna write that down real quick. Hold on. You get back to your story now.
All right. But like, so it's just like this moment where like the movie ends, and it's just like, what is this? Or well, the news reporter's just like, and the news reporter thing can happen early on or whatever. It's kind of whatever. It's just supposed to be like a throwaway moment where it kind of builds these people up even more. This weird organization up, and they're like, the public has deemed these people the Midnight Dynasty. And it's just all these just like weird, basically cryptid level images of just like people not where they're supposed to be. And like their presence there is like a sign of like bad omen, if you will.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, dinosaur bad omen. Nobody's getting struck by lightning over here. Just dinosaur attacks, and these people seem to go hand in hand.
Oh, for sure.
All right, well, that's all I got for that. So, I mean,
that's all you got for that, hey?
You got a story too, but before we deep dive into that, we got a word from today's sponsor. Take it away, advertisements. So, here we go.
Thanks, Podcast Eric. Now let's talk about today's sponsor, Dinosaur Trips. If you love looking at these amazing creatures that I show you, and even talking about these amazing creatures that I talk about, and you want to go see them in real life, I heavily suggest you look at Dinosaur Trips. Dinosaur Trips, created by Zach, gives you behind the scenes in look at museums, and he even takes people out to digs. So if you sound interested in that, go to www.dinosaurtrips.com and tell them that Prehistoric Life sent you, and they will give you $250 off your tickets. And here's their Instagram if you're interested in giving them a follow.
So that's our sponsor, and I guess you got your story.
Oh boy, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I want to give him his genuine props and credit. That was far more professional than anything we over on Jurassic Fans podcast have ever done. We've never had a sponsor, so he's already leagues and bounds further on than us.
Yeah, I'm not
So
getting
well done
paid
to you,
for
mate.
it, but
I mean, you know what, mate? You know what? You ought to be, because you're pulling your head in and you're making your channel a little bit more shiny as you go.
yeah.
Oh, alrighty. Well,
So-
just hit that beautiful 1 hour mark, so I'll try to keep her a little shorter under that for everybody else listening. If you're still here.
No. Go deep, buddy. Go deep.
No. All right, now, so here's the all right. So where do we even begin? Because how do you follow that up, everyone? How do you follow that up? That was just so well done. So, all right. So for me, all those listening, Jak O'Hara, of course, I have 2 running stories going at the moment. One of them is on fire currently, thanks to Chaos Theory coming in and basically messing up all of the plots and ideas and stuff that I was going to do. And the other one is also at the moment on temporary limbo until Chaos Theory has wrapped up, because depending on the direction that they go with it, if the person that Brooklyn in the TV show is, sorry, on the Netflix show, is hunting down, turns out to be Soyona Santos from Jurassic World Dominion, played by Ditchin Lackman. The last thing I want to do is write an entire story and it just turns out to be horrifically wrong in any sort. So I'm just taking my time and I'm going to get back to it. But lovely Eric here, he has brought me onto our show, well, not our show, sorry, your show, and he has asked me to go over it a little bit. So now I don't have as many plot points as thought out plot points as Eric here. My story at the moment is more like Swiss cheese at the moment, but I'll try to I'll try to work my way through it. So, starting off with the plot and the premise, the story title is called. It's going to be a fan fiction story. Hopefully, it should be on Archive of Our Own when it's all finished and with a little bit of artwork. You know, fingers crossed, going up alongside of it. And basically, the story, basically, haha. So basically, the story is going to follow. Sorry, I'll start with the title. The title of it is going to be Soyona, PaleoEmpress. It's a origin book similar to the way the evolution of Claire came out, where it's basically an in-depth character look at the mind behind Soyona Santos and the mentality that brought her to this point. So it opens in a prison. It opens in the Molten prison during the events of Dominion, right in the fair smack of the movie, where she's been held for at least a few hours, because by the time there's a tiny little detail that I'm not sure if you've ever noticed, if you've ever watched Dominion, Eric, and that is that during the film, just before Owen and Claire arrive over the Bison Valley in the plane with Kayla Watts, the security bloke whose name I would give you $100 right now if you could guess his name. The fella, the Australian in there that talks to Dodson as like his little right-hand assistant without looking it up. You know what his name is?
No.
No one does. No one does. But you know what? Yeah, it doesn't. The point is, he's in there and he says to Dodson, middle of the movie, he says, just got off the phone with Santos. It's the girl's parents, which means she was arrested about 10 minutes before in the film runtime, which means she has had somehow able to get her phone call out, and instead of calling anyone else, she's called in a favor with Dodson and Biosin to let them know that there is problems coming their way. And I'm going to expand upon that. I'm going to expand upon it in the fact that rather than calling a lawyer or calling anyone, she calls Biosin and lets them know. Jimmy is his name, by the way. And what happened is, I know, right? I googled him up. I've looked at the tiniest of details for this one, Eric. So what's happened is this. While she's in prison, she gets a visitor, and they haven't even since she basically at this point in her life she runs most of Malta from the underground. So they have not even bothered to process her yet, like get her out of the white and black outfit and put her into like whatever they wear over there. I've been trying to Google. For anyone listening, by the way, challenge for you. If you could find out what sort of prison uniform molten people wear, I would be greatly appreciated if you could tag me in a comment or anything on my Instagram, or
So it's
message
not
me
just
direct.
orange.
I googled it, right, and I can't find a direct answer, and I don't want to be completely wrong about it. So anyway,
Orange might actually just be like the universal.
I think it's just American. I think because they don't do that down here in Australia. So anyway,
Well,
what it
everybody's a
is,
prisoner down there.
yeah, I know we all bloody in blues or whatever. Anyway, the point is, so she's basically waiting in her cell, and she gets a visitor from the guard escorts her down to one of those prison like interrogation rooms with like the one-way glass, and there's a visitor there that is coming to see her, and the story is written through her internal perspective. If anyone's ever read any of the Timothy Zahn Thrawn novels, especially the new ones from Star Wars, if anyone's unfamiliar, uh, there's many parts in that book where it's spoken from the character's inner perspective of and studying like facial movements and body language and stuff. That's where this writing style comes from. So she was waiting in the room, and then all of a sudden in comes a character, and she recognizes her immediately. Now, this is depending on where Chaos Theory goes, where yes or no. It turns out that Brooklyn Ortega is the person coming in to interview her. So
Brooklyn Ortega.
Brooklyn Ortega, I had to get her last name. I think in canon,
Is that actually canonically her last name?
not. I have Googled it, Eric. I cannot find every single other one of them. Ben Pincus, Darius Bowman, Kenji Khan, Yasmina Fandula, Sammy Gutierrez. They all have last names. Brooklyn is just Brooklyn. There is nothing. There's no last name. And my suspicion is because she has two dads and she doesn't want to take either one of their last names. That is my only logical thought. I have no other answer for you, so I've just called her Brooklyn Ortega, just in honor of General Ortega, who played her in the very first show.
Fair
So
enough.
just to make it simpler, because otherwise, what do you say, Miss Brooklyn? Like
Huh.
it sounds. Yeah, no, I triple dare you to Google it. If you can find an answer, mate, oof, you're a legend. So what it is that
Or it's either that or Lander or Landry.
Landry. You know what? If Chaos
Here.
Theory manages to give me a last name for Brooklyn, I will be satisfied no matter what outcomes happens in the show.
By the power of Google and a little luck,
give us a little look here.
She doesn't have a canonical last name, but is always just headcanon as Lander or Landry, since her
From
fans are called
bloody who?
Brooklanders.
What?
Female. Brooklanders.
What? Lander. What? Brooklyn Lander. You know what? That's not a.
It's
That's
a little
not,
on the nose, but
you know what? No. On the nose is good for a kid show. Now I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to ever rule that out. I might even look into probably fixing that up a little bit there because it's more of a solid answer, mate, than what I've been able to find myself. So good on you for that, Eric. So anyway, back to this tale. So it turns out to be Brooklyn, of all people, who was called in a favor with Brooklander, yeah, I know, Landra or something like that, something fancy. So Barry Simbin in the film is the fella going undercover in Malta to arrest Soyona. Now, my whole idea was that how did Barry come across that information and how did Soyona get noticed? Sure, you build up a bit of infamy and stuff like that under the underground to get respected, but like you don't want to build up so much that you get noticed by the French intelligence. So, to me, where Chaos Theory, I believe, is going is that Brooklyn is gathering information on Soyona's organization. She's going to give it over to French organization. That's how it's going to tie into the events of Dominion. Because it turns out, Eric, I now concretely know that apparently Chaos Theory, from Scott Kramer's words himself, the director of the show, that Chaos Theory officially within the timeline takes place before Dominion.
Good. That's good.
Yes, directly. There's no more mucking that around with me. I apologize to everybody who's ever heard it the wrong way, including everyone I'm going to be on the pod with in the future. It's directly before Dominion, not more than a few months away. So I'm like, fair enough. So I have to reestablish my timeline of Dominion itself. So what happens is, she, depending on how the show turns out, she's either going to be partially puzzled and going to be looking at this girl like, she seems so familiar, the way she walks in and the way her eyes crystal like.
Well,
and you know why she would know? You know why she would know her if it turns out it's not Soyona the person? Because when they were rescued, when they came back, not only was she a big internet sensation and famous, but when they came back, there was that interview with them, the survivors of the New Blast 6. So she would have seen that. They were
very famous for that too.
Yes, that. But if they never saw her ever again, if it doesn't turn out to be Soyona, that's where they can be like, oh, I do remember you.
Although,
you were one of them. Yes.
would that make international news or just American news?
American news, I imagine. But here's the thing: if much of her market is in America, she has to be a not tactical. She has to be a entrepreneurial genius here. She has to know everything. Her business. I've written this down in notes to everyone listening. Her business is not in dinosaurs. It's not in trade. It's not even in money. Her business is in information. That is the most valuable commodity on the planet, far more than orange rocks with bugs in them. I've written that down. That's a line. Yes, because information is a hottest commodity because it is only valuable for a limited amount of time. And once it's not, it can make the difference between whether you stay out of jail or not. So, with that all said, and if she does recognize Brooklyn after the show wraps up and it turns out they know each other, it's going to be a rude reunion. I must admit, it's going to be a rude reunion because they are not going to be too thrilled to see each other. But Brooklyn has been given the opportunity to let Sayona have a fair say because she does not want to be. She's trying to be a journalist. Brooklyn is in the show. She said it's hard for a former internet superstar to be a turned reformed journalist or whatever that is. So she's moved on from internet sensations, and she wants to give Sayona a chance to say her piece, tell her side of the story as to how she got here before before she's locked away in her mind, locked away
Eddie
forever.
Brock with Carnage.
Exactly, but here's the thing. Exactly. Thank you very much. This is why I'm glad he brings me on. So, what it is that while all of this is happening, she says to Brooklyn, she says, "Well, if you get me a phone call, because she's been denied a phone call, that's the only rule they have to say to see like that is if you get me a phone call, I will give you everything. I will give you the names of all of my former associates. I will wipe the slate clean." And Brooklyn can't afford to mess that up, even though they know that this is like, and she promises her that she will not call her legal team. She will not call defense. She says, "I merely wish to, call my mother before I never see her again." And as you can imagine, Anson, Eric, playing her for a fiddle the whole time. They have a secret code for it. They talked and stuff, and she lets them know. And in exchange,
she's playing
playing
on
Brooklyn.
that
She's playing
emotion.
Barry. She is. She's playing Barry.
Okay.
She's playing everyone. Yep, that's right. Exactly right,
I feel
Eric.
she would recognize Brooklyn.
She would.
Brooklyn is married to Kenji because I 100% believe that Kenji's dad has some kind of relationship with Santos.
1,000,000%, and that's what I'm saying. So if she knows everybody,
I think she would know Brooklyn, and she would be playing on the fact that Brooklyn knows about her relationship with her parents,
for
and
sure,
then Kenji's relationship with his dad.
For certain, I want her to be kind of a mix between every like intelligent, like villainous figure throughout history. I want her to be part of like Pablo. Yeah, it's not quite even that evil. It's more of cunning because she's like think of Thrawn from Star Wars, and then think of like say Pablo. Think of Pablo Escobar from the first episode of Narcos when he gets pulled up. He says to every new cop on that bridge, he says that you have a wife, you have a daughter. You should work for me and buy her something nice. Like she knows everybody. Information is what is valuable, and that's the thing. And if you don't have information, you're basically extinct.
Oh,
that's her idea.
Oh, fun fact of the day, everyone. Al Capone is the reason we have expiration dates. All right, keep going.
Beautiful. Listen, she's full of fun facts, this bloke. So she sits down and she agrees to the terms and gets her phone call and calls her right in front of her and in the center of the thing. At the center of the interrogation room, makes the call and says, then does her call to quote unquote mother and lets them know that, I won't be seeing you again because trouble's on the way and something more subtle than that. But anyway, so that's and that's basically her ticket. So now she is buying time until the end of the novel if something's coming now. So rather than have it be a legal team, just to jump to the end, rather than it be a legal team or anyone,
be a legal team and get her out. I mean,
you would think that would be the case.
Not an interesting story.
Oh, look, it is interesting if she could tell all this, and Brooklyn has to record this conversation as well, right? She puts a tape recorder on the table, like a small little pocket one, and records the whole story. And you know what happens, mate? Just to skip all the way to the end. what happens is that towards when she's wrapped it all up and she's getting ready to be moved back to her cell, she thanks Brooklyn honestly because she said she has never been able to confess like this before. And suddenly the side wall of the Yellow Rock prison bursts through, and there is a massive like armored truck breaks through. Then men with guns jump out and shoot everybody in that room except for Barry Simbin, who she orders to be left alive, and Brooklyn because she says if and then she takes the tape recorder with her entire life story on there. And she says, "I
Wow.
will hold it. I will. I'm going." She said, "Thank you for this," because she was using Brooklyn to get a recording device without her own like fingerprints on it or without anything on there, and she's going to keep that now that she's displayed every single like person she's ever worked with, and going to use that as leverage as like a shotgun last card to give off to
Wow.
everybody. And now because she's lost everything, her entire organization is falling apart, and she realizes that her mistake was that she did not find an heir to guide it on. She thought she could do it all herself, and that's where it turns into the next book. And so it leaves Brooklyn and Barry alive, and maybe one other person in there, but 6 men lost their lives. They're not going home to their families now, and she has to get out of the country. She is extradited, so she manages to escape and runs into the next story. And of course, Brooklyn being left alive, she now feels responsible that she gave her the tools to escape. And so yeah, it's going to be a whole thing after that. So anyway, back to the start. But no, it's just that's just how we get it going. Get the hook in. Anyway, so she escapes prison, shoots everybody and all that. So anyway, point is, back at the start. So she ends up going into her entire backstory. She says, "Well, I'm suppose you would like me to start from 2018 onwards. Like when the dinosaurs started becoming a problem and they came out and stuff." And she says, "No, actually, I'd like you to start at the beginning." And she's actually surprised by this. Like Sayona does not get surprised. Barely shows a flicker of it by like an eye, like it's only like a simple eye twitch, but it's like very well. And she goes all the way back to her start. Now, believe it or not, Ditchin Lackman herself has come out in an interview with someone else on YouTube, and she was talking very briefly about how when she was creating the character of Sayona, she came up with a little backstory herself. Now, I was still working on it, but I have notes here, believe it or not. I have notes here, so let me bring this up real quick.
The official notes.
Yeah, the official notes from the actress herself, which is why I'm very hopeful one day we can maybe get her on the pod. We can actually have a chat. So apparently, according to the actress herself, Soyona's mother was a Mongolian fossil smuggler, which I think, oh, that's interesting. That's how you get her
Okay.
hooked in. And her father apparently came to great wealth during the aluminum wars in Siberia.
Huh.
Yeah, so it goes to show you gets a taste for the good life, and it gets a taste for like how to smuggle things in and out. And think about it, what's the next evolutionary step, mate? You get fossils, you find
Dinosaurs.
you get the dinosaurs, you find the ambers, and it shows you. And so that way she's taught from a young age how to do this. So she knows what to do, and she takes it basically from like a mom and pop sort of business to global empire and enterprise. And she becomes the PaleoEmpress because she is the broker that everybody will ever have to deal with. She's at the top of the food chain, basically. Anyway, so going into it all, like I say to ladies and gents, there's still many holes in it, so I can't connect each and every part. But I basically want to go over the idea of that, like, well, she started, she was born, Siberia and everything, or maybe even in Australia during like a business trip, and because the actress herself is a Nepali Australian, if you can believe it, Dishan Luckman. So I want to have her be there. I wanted to have
That's
seen
why
these
you like her
places.
so much.
Oh, of course, close to my own heart. So anyway, I want to have all of that sort of stuff go. I want her to have seen have growing up with having no real connection to her parents because her parents were both cold-hearted criminals. But she ends up befriending a Joey that she finds on the side of the road after its mother has been killed by a roadkill, like hit by a car, and the Joey's still alive. And she ends up befriending this Joey. And in order to because my guess is that at this point she's probably been abandoned by her parents because the parents see her as a liability. And of course, they run one of the biggest smuggle fossil imports in the world, and that's going to become a point later. But basically, she befriends this Joey in this little town. It's like one of the worst financial towns in Australia, and so she knows what it's like to come from dirt and nothing. And she ends up, walking to the store like 2 kilometers down the road every day to pick up milk like that's kind of nearly expired every day, so she knows what's not there. And the parents that she's been like the adoptive parents she's been left with, they are like drug addicts. They are not nice people. And in order to get out of that, yeah, right, in order to get out of that situation, she bonds with this little kangaroo Joey, who she nurses back to health herself. She gives her own milk for the day because they don't have no money for food or nothing. She gives her own thing of milk. What she gets one a day. That's how she gets to live. She gives her one thing of the day to the Joey, trying to like attach you to this the fact that she cares about creatures when she's young and when she begins with. And then, in order to get out of a bad situation, about a year's time from after that, she has to sell the Joey, her only friend in the world. She has to sell it to get enough money to get a ticket to get out of the town. Yeah, so that's where the first sad, like heartbreaking kind of like taste for the power comes into it. And once she gets out of town, she gets to somewhere else, and then she stays at an orphanage for a while. And then, time passes, and years later, she's down the line at 18, and she ends up meeting a young man, and her last name, believe it or not, is as far as I'm so far aware, not Santos. It's something different. It's I had notes for it. I don't know where it is now. Anyway, young fellow, I can't know his first name, but his last name is Santos, and so they end up forming a bond and end up falling in love over time. And it turns out that a secret's brewing because he had never told her that what he was studying was to be like an artist, right? And turns out really he was an undercover policeman in training back in the day. And so for most of the story, she's been married to a undercover cop who ends up forming kind of like a two-person family with her, and she comes to deeply trust, and that's going to come down the line later on in a bad way. So yeah, she marries him. Eventually, takes his name, Santos, so Sayona Santos, and yeah. So wait, where was I going with this? Yeah, she ends up, like I said, everybody listening, Swiss cheese. It's absolutely Swiss cheese. It's just full of holes. I'm working it. I'm working it every day. I promise you. Anyway, so there's an event that happens in 1997, right? And this is spoken about in the book, The Evolution of Claire, as well. For Claire Deering, one of the events that made national news, I'm talking national news, was the reveal to the world that a Tyrannosaurus Rex was running around San Diego. In that moment in the book, The Lost World, yeah, in that moment, and it's televised. Someone had televised it like on a camcorder back in the day, old camcorder. You can find the footage from after Fallen Kingdom came out on the viral marketing website for the DPG. It's on there, and it's like 6 seconds, and it's from The Lost World. It's like an unused, deleted VFX as a shot that they touched up and they put on like the thing, and it's so cool. And that is apparently the canon news recorded footage for when the Tyrannosaurus was rampaging through San Diego, and that's where the world learned what dinosaurs was. And Claire Deering in her book says that moment was a life changer moment for her and the world, because they saw that this was real. This thing was real, and Sayona saw that as well. And unlike Claire, who saw
life changing for the people on the island at that moment too.
Yeah,
Timbo,
yeah, exactly.
his son.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Haha, self-plugging. Look at him. He's glorious, this fella. So what happened is where I wanted to be the opposite flip for Santos, and whereas Claire saw that and was inspired and wanted to be near these creatures, Sayona thinks to herself, like, that's a game changer. You have people all around the world smuggling tigers and lions and everything, which by that point she had kind of broken into to know how to into the game of how to smuggle animals all around the world for expensive prices. Again, I'll fix it all up later on. But anyway, and then when that happens, the dinosaur, that was something that always stuck with her. She said, well, what if you could sell a dinosaur? How much would that go for? So she makes it her life work to try to understand more about genetics and learn how to do stuff. Not herself, but knowing people who could do this for her if she wanted to. And so exactly. And so all the while she's going through business school and is learning how to be a savvy businesswoman and understand global trade markets and everything like that. And so fast forward to 2018, she's invited. She's built up quite a reputation for herself by that point, that she was able to be invited to the Lockwood Estate. She was actually there in my events. You can't see her because she's in the back somewhere. Point is, she's not wearing. Yeah. She's just there. She's just there. I saw a fellow in there, bro, that I'm going to base my character, that her partner, in. So anyway, so speaking of which, so by this point in time, the undercover husband has been kind of discovered, and it tears her apart. But she has to silence him. She has to kill him. and she does that. She shoots him one night. As the police are out there, the drama, you see the hesitation in her face, and she's like, "Was any of it real?" And he just looks at her as like, "Of course it was, every word," because he's a Spanish fella. And she just like, and she says, I'll refine it, but yeah, she has to shoot him, and she manages to escape and destroys his testimony because he has to testify in court against her, and that's why he says to her, he said, "That's why I married you, because the law is that you cannot testify against a wife." And so he was going to testify and stuff like that, but he married her in the last 2 years before the end of the case. And his officers, his senior people didn't like that, but he couldn't help himself. He did fall for her. So anyway, moving along, we got the Lockwood Estate.
Not to.
Please talk.
You know more about story building than I do.
Oh, not at all. Look at me, Swiss cheese, bro.
Have her. How do I say this without sounding weird? Screw up killing him.
Screw up killing him, you reckon?
So don't. She thinks he's dead.
Yep. Shoots him in the head. Turns out he's still alive.
He can be shot in the head and survive. Apparently.
I've seen Mafia 3, bro.
This is that story of the dude whose wife like shot him in the head while he was sleeping. And he just woke up with a headache. I mean, it's like
wow.
Okay. But it's like have her like in like a moment of humanity, just like
brother, that's the idea. Because that's
pointed at him, but like not like her not watching. She like looks away and just pulls the trigger.
100%, bro. Because that's the idea. Because I don't want Sayona to come across. Because what I'm worried people have perceived her as in the films is just like a James Bond, super chic sort of villain, and like I'm like that's not it. That she has so many more layers to her than that. I'm sure. And if people just give it a chance,
and maybe he's like shot in like the shoulder or. Like
the problem is though, like he has to like he has to testify at this point. Like they've had to get like divorce papers and everything signed, and she finds out that that's why he wants to divorce after all this time, and he still struggles to bring himself to it because these officers are telling him, no, you have to do this, you have to put her away now, we've gathered enough evidence, you have to get rid of her. Well, you have to send her to jail, you have to do your job, and he doesn't want to do it, he's hesitant, and because of that she can't afford that to lose everything she's built up from nothing. So she has no other opportunity. She has to kill him. Like it's just the way. It's to survive, and it's terrible. But that's the thing. It's those hard moral choices, that I'm looking forward to making for her. But anyway, moving along. So she's at the Lockwood Estate, and she meets a fellow there from an older gentleman. So what's happened is she has the trade routes and the capital to kind of bankroll buying a few dinosaurs here. But what do you do, Eric? Do you buy dinosaurs? And like it's that classic story, right? Like what do? You teach a fisherman you teach him how to fish. So no, you give him a fish he eats for a day, or do you teach him how to fish and he knows how to do it forever? So for her, she's there not looking just for dinosaurs. She's not looking for dinosaurs there. She's looking for partners, and she finds one that she thinks is suitable enough, and she ends up getting his details and everything like that. Anyway, and then of course everything goes haywire at the Lockwood Estate, but they managed to buy. So there's a shot at the end of Fallen Kingdom, right, where they're driving through a desert, and there's an Allosaurus in the truck. So I'm going to use that Allosaurus specifically as the one, like it's a juvenile, that one as the one that is going to be kind of like a focus in the point of my story, because it almost looks like they could be driving through Australia, bro. It's wild. There's 4 trucks there, bro. There's 4 different dinosaurs, bro. She could have bought.
Probably not in the events of Fallen Kingdom.
Well, at the end of that,
probably like Arizona or some crap.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is, really, and realistic. But like for me, I'm like, oh, it's a red desert. Anyway, so long story short, there, everybody, she ends up partnering this man who has a secret underground, out of sight sort of facility, because he handles all the genetics and stuff, and it's a lot crazier there, which we don't even have time to get into all that. That's because that's for the sequel story. But anyway, she basically works with this man for years as he's her main supplier, and then she starts branching out once the animals start breaching all over the world. And then she ends up building up a more of a unique reputation, and that's when, of course, the events of Chaos Theory will then hopefully come into play, and then tie into that. And then, like I said, all the ending will happen, whereas that she manages to she had it planned all along, and that she'll end up breaking out, and then she off to my next story that hopefully I can sort out after that with the rest of the campers tracking her down. So yeah, that at the moment is the very Swiss cheese brought together little idea that I have for a Sayona sequel novel. But I'm very excited to want to try to expand upon the character because she really struck a chord with me. Not just as like, just because I was like, oh, she's a cool character, but like because there's untapped potential there, and that's what I'm hoping in reality, Eric, that Chaos Theory is going to do for us because we don't know for certain if the broker, quote unquote, the broker. I hope shit is. I don't know if that's going to be Sayona. I hope it is, because I would love to see her back in the role. Dushin Luckman is in the role, but I don't know. That's the whole idea. So that's why I'm looking to do this story.
I guess, do you know what you want the end goal to be?
The end goal I want her to be that she has basically explained her entire backstory and stuff like that so that her motivations and methods make more sense. And for her to then escape the prison because she had it in control the entire time and that she was playing the officials in there because her power still extends far further than what anyone was able to imagine.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like I said, everybody, Swiss cheese. We're working on it. Don't you worry. It's like this one I'm working on quite a bit harder than the other one at the moment because you can tell it's the untapped, excited potential that it comes with.
You like Santos.
I don't like it too, bro. She's pretty good. She's all right there, bro. She's a chic, bro. Because I remember they said in the interview, they said that Santos is basically what Claire Deering would have been had she not grown a consciousness again by the end of Jurassic World. Because literally, think about it, dude. She's in white.
Did she ever actually meet Santos? Did they ever see face to face?
Claire and Santos?
Yeah.
Brother, they were throwing hands together, bro. They were throwing each other through windows and zapping each other and said, "You don't use it on people." It's like, where's my daughter? Like that's, bro. You have not seen Dominion in a minute, then, have you? She's fighting. They're fighting each other. They're fighting each other, brother.
What, 4 or 5 years now?
4 or 5, brother. It came out 2 years ago. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Time is weird. Time is relative.
That's a hater, everybody over there. That's a hater. But no, dude. Honestly, man, we'll get all the boys together. We'll watch all the movies again, bro. And I'll make you sit through Dominion, and I'll point out the good parts of it. You'll be like, "Oh, baby."
Oh, I love Dominion. Oh, I'm already. For all of you watching, there will be more story times because I want to have more of them. Some will be solo. Some I might be Jak.
Oh, look! If he's willing to bring me back on, if I haven't brought ruin to the name of his new franchise here, everybody, I might pop back on there. He's too kind. He's too kind. So anyway, but that's all I have to say as well, everybody. So
and I'm currently.
He's working on several exciting projects, everybody. So stay tuned.
Several.
So no,
too many.
Keep listening in. Keep on listening in, hey.
Well, yeah. I guess I haven't actually started writing it down, but I'm where Biosyn Valley is sealed from the outside world. So it's just whatever is in there is just left.
No, I like that. Yep, little Exodus. You call it the Biosyn Exodus.
And then you just there's like a group of just people who just get in there.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for. I guess thank you everybody for listening this long. If you have already.
Well, I guess if you gotta go, you gotta go. So.
Oh, that's all good, bro. No, listen. Once again, thank you for having me on here, bro.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Bro, what do you mean? This is what I do.
It's your second job.
It is, bro. It's my thankless friend. No, it's got thankless. No, it's my second unofficial job, bro. I'm still waiting on Dan's supposed bloody royalties he promised me the very first time I jumped on.
And paycheck.
He's like, bro, where's my dividends, bro?
Yeah. Well, I guess,
beautiful.
Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, it's always an honor having you on.
Anytime, my dude.
So, I guess if you gotta go, you gotta go. I'll wrap everything up.
You're good, bro. You're good. All right, everybody. Everyone go subscribe to the man. He's trying to push the channel up. Sort him out.
All right. See you.
Bye.
All right. Well, I was Jak O'Hara. Thank you so much, man, for coming on. But if you want to see more content from me, go check out my Instagram, maybe, if it'll load. Well, not that post. That post is through. That is how we got the logo. The amazing logo that Jak made. Well, go check out my Instagram. I post additional reels, normal posts, things like that. if you want to see my content a little bit, well, probably the only place now, sadly. I have to figure this out. Go check out my YouTube channel. We're almost to 100 subscribers. We're at 82 subscribers, almost to 100 subscribers. Woo! If you want all of my content in one place, go check out my website. From there, you can get to my YouTube and my Instagram. I currently am struggling to log back into my Anchor account. I have to figure that out. So it might be a while, or I might have to start a new Anchor channel to Spotify channel. But I will all link it all here to my website so that it is all there in one place if I have to do that. But I'm letting you all know that now. Well, I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off. This has been Prehistoric Life Podcast. Remember, keep it prehistoric. Bye.